Computer trying to get us situated.
Got it.
Okay. Just a little slow here. Okay.
Here we go.
All right. We are live and direct. We made it, y'all. You know what happened? I got a new pewter, as my niece would say. So when you get a new pewter, then you know what that means, right? You gotta try to work out all the kinks. But anywho, eyes here, we are here and we are ready to get you guys going with a very, 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 very interesting topic. And what we are going to be talking about today is the good old-fashioned inversion method. Now I'm saying that it's old-fashioned because it's been out for quite some time, but it's new to me. So before we hop into the topic, I don't know, but Cheryl, I'm sure you already saw this, but Nichelle Nichols from, the Trekkie sister, she's gone. And then Bill Russell, I can't believe two great people in one day. I wasn't ready for Bill Russell. He looked like he had all the engine, he was just, oh my gosh, I was really shocked.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any interactions with either of them in your career? No.
I did not.
Did not? Okay.
With
Well, I just remember the influence of Mr. Bill Russell. It's
absolutely.
like, as an entrepreneur, they love to, correlate sports, with how to, work your business. And they always talked about his leadership, his business acumen, his responsibility to the community. I mean, he is just most definitely exalted as, as is truly, truly a leader in the African American community, which is the world at large. So,
Yeah.
so rest in power, Bill Russell. Rest in peace, Nichelle Nichols. I got my, I really wasn't a Trekkie, but I did
I
like
was.
her. You was a Trekkie?
I was a Trekkie.
Yeah, I wasn't a Trekkie. If you was a Trekkie, go ahead on and drop some aliens in the chat if you was down with, the voting and all that other cool stuff. My brothers, they had all the Star Trek toys and they had it going on. They had it going on. Me and myself, I just was a nerd. You know me. I was just a consummate nerd, always reading, but could never play with any toys because I took life way, way, way too serious. All right. So I just want to say a quote that I think you're going to like this. I saw this on my mentor's page, and I think he knew Bill Russell pretty well. And so the quote is that, and you guys are going to love this one. This is from Bill Russell, that only Cheryl would truly appreciate. So here's the quote. He says, I don't need to be validated. I know what I did. I was there. All right. All right.
I
All
was
right.
there.
So, all
Love it.
right. Yeah, he said, I don't need to be validated. I know what I
Absolutely.
did. I
I
was there.
was
That's
there.
that's that's a very powerful statement. When you could
Yes.
just stand firm and stand on your own. So,
Absolutely.
if you know anything about
No
that,
doubt.
then put the BR, in the chat for Bill Russell. Okay, so we got some aliens for Nichelle Nichols, and then we have some BR for Bill Russell. You could also drop in a basketball if you want to. After all, he was the king. That's what they said. Nobody has been able to do what he's done in basketball. So I was like, okay, LeBron, all right. So I see we got some people. I see we got some people coming through the chat. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so glad to see all the wonderful people. We are just really, really, really excited. Now, another thing, we're going to talk about some excitement. We talk about some of these current events. I don't know if y'all saw this, but if you go on to Google, Google is where I get my current events from. So Google is saying that now Hollywood wants to celebrate the Afro. When did Hollywood
Oh,
not celebrate the Afro? Am I
yeah,
missing
I
something?
saw that. Was that the I think
There was
Taraji P.
Taraji
Henson
P.
had.
Henson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not from Hollywood, obviously, but I've always, I don't know, I watched, Uptown Saturday Night, Coolie High, I mean, they were afros back then, so I'm trying to figure out, are they just hyping
Well,
this up, or are they,
it's,
what they
it's a
doing in Hollywood?
convenient. It's a convenient picture kind of connection, right?
Ah, yes.
Now that she
Okay, so
has
what's
her
her name?
her hair product, right? So it was
What's
very interesting how to make that correlation. But I it's good for business. I guess it's just good for business, and especially
all
hers,
right?
right?
Good for me. All right. So big ups to Raji for making it. See, Cheryl, that's why I love rocking with you, because you make connections that I wouldn't see. In case you did not know, Taraji P. Henson actually has her very own product line, and you can buy it in Target or Target, depending on where you're coming from. And so if you go onto Google, you will see that there's this huge article where they are saying that Hollywood is now embracing the afros. And I'm like, I know they couldn't do hair in Hollywood, but I thought they kind of rocked the afros. But I don't know if you
Yeah.
worked in film, maybe you guys can let Cheryl and I know. But they say Hollywood has got it going on. Also, now today we're going to be talking about the inversion method, how to grow hair. So you guys are going to love this one. So get ready as we talk about this. But before we do that, speaking of growing hair, Louisiana, I believe in May of this year, is one of the newest states to actually adopt the Crown Act into their state legislation. So it is illegal to discriminate against people in Louisiana about their hair. But check this out. Now, I did reach out to this sister. Her name is Renee Gadara. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. And she is the global ambassador, a global educator from the Aveda Institute. And I don't know what state she's out of, but this is what they did in Louisiana. You're going to love this one, Cheryl. They actually now have mandated that all cosmetologists have to know how to cut Afro hair on their state board exam.
Okay.
She's like, okay, what y'all think about that? Because when you go to state board, you got to cut straight hair. So when we go to state board, there was no mannequins with curly hair. So now they're going to
But you
mandate
don't get
that
tested on it.
you don't get tested on it now, but in Louisiana, you will be tested on it.
So you have to have two models.
You have to have two models or two mannequins. I don't know if they're doing in-person testing, but this is pretty interesting because one of my biggest quirks about the Crown Act is how y'all gonna pass legislation to respect Afro hair, but y'all don't teach it in the cosmetology schools. I mean, for all the money that I paid to go to cosmetology school, which back then was about $25,000, and I didn't get to learn anything about Afro hair in cosmetology school, which I was very disappointed because I was really looking forward to learning how to cut Afro hair.
Mm-hmm.
So what you think about that not being? I don't know. Did California? Did y'all
Well,
have?
here's the thing. I'm black. I have curly hair. I'm coming to cosmetology school to learn, and I know how to style it because that's the only hair that's on my head. And
Right.
we've got nieces and nephews and black children. I want you to recognize and to mandate, and I want you to have a Afro textured curriculum. And that is when we're going to move the needle. Because if money is tied to the actual license, then I need to know theory, chemistry, culture. I don't need to just, I'm black. I'm coming, I know how to do my own hair. So I kind of like know how to style. I don't need you to teach me something that I already know. That
Mm-hmm.
state legislation can't make me talented. It
Right.
only makes me legal.
Legal. There you go, guys.
So,
Mic drop situation.
right. So, one of my problems with having legislation very disconnected with cosmetologists, the professional ranks of black cosmetology. And I understand that black cosmetology has its issues. However, if you say to me all hair is the same, but then you teach it in technicality, then you want to say it has to. I'm only different when it comes to a method. No, I'm different all the way around. Chemically,
Did y'all,
biologically, I'm different. The scalp, everything is different. And if you can't recognize that, see, you're trying to just put me into that there's just another style method. I
right.
don't braid black people's hair different than I braid white people's hair. Braid is a damn braid.
Say that.
But you want to split hairs that way and appease me. It's the same thing as you giving me Juneteenth when the last whole slave holding states ended in December. Now I'd rather have December. You
Okay.
understand? So you always giving me what you think I should have. I don't want that. I am Afro curly hair deserves a actual accredited curriculum that you have to go get and physically have it questions on the test, just like any other question, not in the
Right.
practical.
Right.
I'm
Yes.
black. I know how to do
Right.
practical.
And if any cosmetologist has really worked, with the various textures, you can't deny what Cheryl is saying is true. You can't
Mhm.
deny it. So with that being said, that lets you guys know that what's going down in our next three series is we're
And
going to talk about yeah, go
by
ahead.
the way, this is important. I don't know. I don't know what city in Louisiana, but I do know the president of the board has also a Aveda distribution company. So
Yeah,
that
he
just goes.
does. You are correct. You are
Right.
absolutely correct.
And to
Yes.
me, as a lobby and going it to me, that is a conflict of interest.
Hey, listen, anybody that knows me from Cleveland, when I went down to the State Board of Cosmetology and asked them, we galvanized. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do it by myself, but with
Mm-hmm.
the support of former Senator Shirley Smith and
Mm-hmm.
Fatu Sang Gay of the Gay and Joy Skills Academy, who flew all the way here from West Africa, from the Gambia, to help us speak to these legislators about this education in the cosmetology
Mm-hmm.
industry. We addressed that head on. We actually went there. And
Mm-hmm.
I got a whole lot of backlash, like, you just stirring and everything. No, I'm not stirring up anything. You guys know that you are 100% out of order, out of line, and we had to stand up for that, and we were able
And the
to
backlash
say
came from whom?
the backlash, it came from the actual, the state representatives, the people who were the decision makers, and the state board. That Nicole Cumberlander and Kim Thompson, they still are on the board. They represented Paul Mitchell, and they were, in fact, I'm gonna tell the truth to shame the dang on devil. They were introducing laws and certain changing things, in favor of the Paul Mitchell Cosmetology School. And I was like, that's a conflict of interest. And I ain't gonna lie, she met up with us face to face, and she was a little uncomfortable, but I applaud her because they backed down. We got them off that board, and it was heated. Let me tell you, they was like, first of all, who is Ladosha? Where does she come from? And I said, it's a shame that you educated people who already have all your ducks in a row are take advantage of those who are disenfranchised in the beauty industry. How dare Paul Mitchell leverage his position with those two African American women and do nothing for Black folk, but let them dance on stage at a hair show?
Well,
Come on now.
and,
You know,
and
and I'm not trying to, like I said, Nicole, I have a lot of respect for her. She's doing some wonderful things, but make no mistake, when it came actually earlier this year and late last year, when it came down to lowering the standards of education and cosmetology, Paul Mitchell and them went up to the government, to the federal level, and was like, lower those standards of education and put those cosmetologists and barbers behind the chair. We will train them, give them their basic 800, theory, and we've got the rest. And I was like, you know what? That ain't never gonna happen. So I was outing her all on social media. But this is part of business. It's strictly business, Nicole. It's never personal. But you are right. That is a big conflict of interest. But I did find it quite interesting that they would mandate that those licensed professionals, that those students now have to cut Afro hair, but there's no mentioning of any curriculum. So I reached out to her to see if I could interview her for my documentary, for our documentary rather, because I want to see if she's going to address that, because you guys are the public. We got a nice amount of people in the chat, and you guys, need to understand that there's a whole lot at play when it comes to us being able to legally, take care of your hair. And what Cheryl and I are actually promoting, advocating, and we're actually doing is we're going to stand up for Afro hair. We're going to stand up and speak up and let the world know that the miseducation of Afro hair, it's very real. And a lot of Black people don't know that they're being miseducated. They really believe what these folks are teaching us, but you'll soon find out, what you might be missing. So stay tuned. And so welcome. I see you, Dean Maker. I see you, Dean Filmmaker, in the chat. I see you, Sister Naya Kobe. Kabi. I hope I always mess up your name, but I love you. I see y'all in the chat. I also see the wonderful Mr. Lorenzo. I interviewed him about that 9 ether hair. He's going to be in the documentary. I see my BFF Rashida. I see my homegirl Aisha. What's up, boo? How you guys doing out there? And all you people who ain't dropping nothing in the chat, we see y'all numbers. So Cheryl and I said big ups. We appreciate you all support. So we're going to hop right into the topic about growing hair. So first and foremost, I'm gonna put dry hair over on this because that's a whole nother, live. But the number 2 is dry hair and growing hair is like neck and neck. That's like the number 1 thing that people want when it comes to having their hairstyle, is that they want it to grow really fast. And so we have this topic about the inversion method. We're going to talk about exactly what that is, but let's just get this out the way, because we got Canada representing my favorite customer, Miss Judy Niles, is in the chat. So welcome. They want to know off the rip, can you grow hair faster? How fast does it grow? They want to just know, before we talk about the inversion method, tell us, Cheryl, can we grow this hair? Is there any way that you can make this grow really fast?
As it's akin to length.
Say that again.
As it in conjunction of it being long.
Right. They want it to grow long. We're not going to say thickness. We're just going to say length. And it's not just the Black thing. Everybody wants longer hair and they want it now. I just did a customer and she showed me a picture of spiral curls. Her hair was this short. So, can you grow it faster, or can it grow fast?
And I think we know the answer to that even before we ask it. Um, there is no topical. There's no topical. There's no there's no hair growth stuff over the counter. There's nothing on the outside that can increase the cell production in the hair bulb. There's nothing, steroidal, corticosteroid, even medications have not been able to do that successfully for a long time. There is no um, shot. There's no nutrient. There is nothing that on the outside that's going to make your anagenic phase speed up, stay longer, or begin. There is no topical.
Now, there are some people that are claiming, I'm not going to say any names, I'm just telling you guys what I see. So I see the latest thing that makes hair grow fast now are coffee beans. If you, there are companies who are adding coffee beans to help the hair grow. There are companies who are under the guise of anything that brings blood to the surface, like a peppermint, menthol, and I think
Mhm,
eucalyptus. So
mhm,
these are the common essential oils. And then when it comes to minerals, for
mhm,
sure, biotin by far
mhm,
is the one
mhm,
that comes up the most. People will always ask me about biotin, making their
mhm,
hair grow faster. And then, of course, you have your hair, skin, and nail supplements. So, can you speak to those three? You have your food grade products, such as
mhm,
coffee and things of that nature. That is the latest thing. It's hot. It's hot. And then second, like I said, you also have essential oils. And then third, you have your supplements such as biotin, I think B12. And you guys drop in the chat to us. We can have this because it's lit. This chat is lit. So welcome,
mhm.
welcome, welcome. And then, like I said, the last one again would be your supplements. So can you expound on that just a little bit?
The reason why I'm pushing for chemistry and science inside cosmetology is very important because we have to understand how cell production within the hair follicle is healthy. Then we have to understand pH of the surface. We have to understand what increases the connective tissue, keeps the scalp healthy, and the immune system, and wound healing. It's very important. How what you passes through your mouth, down your esophagus, goes in your stomach, passes through your pancreas and liver. How those things begin to be in the blood stream to create oxygenated red blood cells that end up going into the capillaries and the veins in your head. Okay. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is very understandable on how. Let me ask you guys a question. How do you know your blood flow is increased? Let's say, how would you know that?
All right, who wants to take a stab at it in the chat? Now, don't stab yourself. No, I'm just kidding. How do you know that your blood flow has increased? So, we're going to give you guys a few minutes. Now, remember, we are here to help you understand. And this podcast is all about empowering you. So, we're not here to make light or make fun. So feel free, and this is what we're here for. So the question again is, how do you know when you have increased blood flow?
Flow. Yeah, that because it's very important because it's a distinction for cosmetologists to make. when we give hot oil treatments, or we're giving them massages, or we're moving the connective tissue around, and we're pressing at meridian points, and we're doing all that good stuff, right?
Okay. So
And
we have.
so,
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
Now go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay. And how do we know that we're doing the thing that everyone says to do? How do we have a checks and balances or a metric system? Is it
Okay.
feeling? Does it feedback from the customer? Does it feel good? Or what is that indication to let us know that blood circulation has happened?
Okay, so we have some good answers in the chat. What's up? We got Team Shockley in the house. What's up, Team Shockley? She says perhaps increased energy levels. You will
Mm-hmm.
feel really good. That's a good sign to her that your blood is flowing. No, that's a
Mm-hmm.
good one because I was going to say that one. Now, remember, I'm learning, I do not have the same level of education as Cheryl, I'm not ashamed to say. So, Shelly, I would have said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sister Naya Kobe, she says tingling. Maybe you might feel a tingling sensation in your body, or you might even feel warm.
Mm-hmm.
You would feel some type of body heat coming up, and that would be an indication of blood flow. And I would add maybe your heart might move a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly. So that's why I said, so Shelly, I agree with you on the energy level. So those are some good answers. Thank you guys very much.
Good answers. And so when you have this feedback from your customers, or even yourself for that matter, unfortunately, you've only stimulated your nerves. You have more nerves in your scalp, not blood vessels. Those are two underneath the connective tissue for you guys to stimulate.
That
And
part.
this, right. So
Wow.
it is the tingling is, if anything is a feeling, then then you're not reaching the artery or the vein that is called blood vessels. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have access to your blood vessels unless they're popping out of your arms or your appendages or your neck, but you don't control the pulse and the now the inversion is a different matter, but even so, you're not controlling the flow. Your heart is controlling the flow.
And I'm just gonna show you guys here is what she's talking about. Now we do
Yeah.
use this cross section in our education, and as you see here, and Cheryl correct me, the blue represents the vein, and the red is your arteries. Correct? Is that what you're
What
speaking
the
to?
what the red they only that is also a misnomer. That
Mm-hmm.
they're really not colors. The color is for the blood that is coming from, and then the blue is going back to the heart.
Okay. So you guys see that? So she's saying that if your skin is up here, right, and you're massaging and you're using the far infrared light and you're taking biotin, that you can't get any human
Yeah,
action down here.
right. No topical is going to change the information that the body is on. Now, systemically, through your mouth, through your system, but that rich oxygen um, ions, those are the ones communicating and telling the anagenic, telling catagenic phase to go into their chronological phases. That is not, those are not catalysts for growth. And we want catalysts. See, when we say I wanted to grow faster, though we're talking about catalysts, and vitamins are not catalysts. They don't carry any metabolic process.
No.
They're not, that's not what they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And
that vitamin B12 and all the other things that they're saying, I don't think that they don't have any nutrients. I think that they have, they will probably come into in making the other cell production of after um, the oxygen increases the cell production of keratinocytes, right? Then
mm-hmm.
those keratinocytes turn into keratin. I think that at that point, keratin, it could possibly add some nutrients and things of that nature, but none of those vitamins cat are a catalyst for the anagenic phase. And the anagenic phase is what we want to increase, make it go faster, faster. I want long hair tomorrow. You know,
Right.
unfortunately, vitamins don't do that. And the other drugs. Now here we go again. Man-made stepping in and helping nature do things. Well, then that's not natural, right?
Right.
So natural hair care people, you're screwed. You have to wait
Uh-oh.
until natural happens, and natural is does not work on your clock. Now, if you
Yeah.
want to use something that man-made has in an organic way or man-made has had a hand in, then you start using minoxidil and Rogaines, which are steroids, and they are catalysts. Okay, and so
Okay.
they um, will force things out of or extend an anagenic phase or contract or open up flow, but it's not natural. It's not a natural phase. And so some steroids act like as an anti-inflammatory, increases the valve of the, but once again, guys, make sure that you understand who is selling you something, who is talking. And as cosmetologists, we have to be extremely aware of who's selling you that. And so when you're selling that, they're selling the public. They're not selling manufacturers and chemists and people who are designing products. They're talking to the consumer body so the consumer body can say, hey, doc, I like that purple pill. Can you give me that? Even though it may not be good for the patient or whatever the case may be, he may have heart issues or may have other issues, so he cannot take Viagra. But it's to get the consumer body to be under a certain appetite, certain desires, and then you start coming in the salon and they start asking for certain things. But rosemary and peppermint and things of that nature do not have an effect on increasing the red blood cells of oxygen. That is not actually what's happening.
Right.
Does
And
that
you
make sense?
guys should know, Dean the filmmaker is also asking about vitamin B7. He said
Mhm.
that some people swear by that as well. But what you guys have to understand now, I'm not a doctor, but
Mhm.
the doctors do say this, guys. They say, please do not, fall for that. Now, you could very well be mineral deficient in some capacity. Like if you had, what's the weight loss surgery and things of that nature where you're not getting, enough minerals. And so they want you to take supplements, to help offset that. But that's a little bit different. But in general, they really don't push that because people will ask us about that all the time. And what I would say to them is that if you are not deficient in those minerals, I just don't think you're going to notice anything on the hair because, to be honest, and sure you can help me out with this,
Mhm.
is that we mostly get our minerals and vitamins, from what we eat.
Mhm.
So be careful. We're not saying, if you want to take your supplements for various reasons, but can you just speak a little bit more
Mhm.
to the vitamins? So people are really wanting to
Mhm.
know, they feel that vitamins are supposed to be working
Mhm.
to help grow hair.
Well, and let me just say this: your body does not quite um, process vitamins like like they do minerals. Minerals are not vitamins. Vitamins are completely a whole nother animal.
Okay.
But minerals are usually are they can be inorganic or they can be organic. But usually you want to pay attention to are the acid minerals or alkaline minerals. And usually the minerals, and I will always tell people, the longest living plants are where?
The
The
longest living
longest,
plant.
they can
Where
live,
are the
longest living
hmm,
plants.
the longest living plants are in the forest? No,
Okay.
that would be vegetation. No, plants.
No,
I don't
no, not the longest
know.
living plants. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
But
say in
the,
the forest.
okay. The long or on Earth, where's the longest living plants?
Where
Where?
are the longest living plants on Earth?
Yeah.
Anybody want to take a stab at that one? Where are the longest living plants? I would say on Earth. I'm gonna say the ocean at that point. Now,
Yeah.
there's some, there's some, you
That's
know,
that's
stuff.
that's the that's the right answer. They're always in water.
Get it, Naya
Uh-huh.
Kobe. Get it,
Right.
girlfriend. You better go there. You better go there. Okay, now
Right.
they're asking about sea moss. You done got them started.
Okay. Now, but the question is what water? Fresh water or salt water? And we talked about salt in terms of preserving, and those are your minerals. That's why chlorophyll kind of tastes salty. Chlorophyll tastes salty. Saline tastes salty.
Right.
My point is that keeping your electrolytes is what you should be more concerned about than just trying to eat some vitamin B12 and some biotin. Because at the end of the day,
Wow.
because at the end of the day, you may not be, um, you don't, K12, those things, I don't, those, you're an electrical being. You need electrolytes. And so in your circuits and your veins and your blood, it has a charge. They say you're either, they don't say you're just an A, you're either a B negative or a B positive. That's a charge. Your body, you're electrical. And so the hair, I think, is keeping your minerals efficient, and your immune system is what makes these systems work. And so I am doing some studies right now, and I think that some of the alopecias are autoimmune but kicked by either a parasite or a fungus, or there's something that causes in the system that causes hair to come out in circles, or to be able to just completely evacuate and completely shut down in totalis. There is just
Wow.
something to take a look at. But I will say that what keeps that antigen, uh, your iron and your minerals, uh, biotin, and you want to keep your tissue as healthy, of course, watching, but your minerals keeps all of those systems in check, so the immune system keeps you healthy. You don't need to take vitamins for a well body. You're well at the mineral level,
Mm.
and you get all your other hormones and vitamins from the sun. And so
Wow.
if you keeping a really good electrical electrolytes and you're well hydrated. But here we go again. That's an Afro cosmetology kind of approach to diet. But cosmetology, the approach to diet is just eat every goddamn thing, and then whatever that doesn't work, just come to the dermatologist and get a shot. That's
Stick in the
basically.
scalp, yeah. Stick in the scalp. So, Miss Foster, what's up, Miss Foster? You was dropping knowledge in the chat. So yes, she says she agreed with you about the parasites and the fungus. So as you guys can see, it goes back to my favorite word that my mom used to say, and that is snake oil. We've got to watch out for these naturalistas. And this is why next week we're going to start this series. And this one is going to be about what's the difference. Okay. So we're going to go into this a little bit more so you guys can understand and, you're not being taken advantage of and you're not falling for everything. So now you've come to realize that, hey, we are electrical beings, and that it's really more so about the electrolytes and minerals versus your essential oils, your coffee beans, your vitamins. So think about that in regards when it comes to your health. So I guess you can go ahead on and rock that sea moss, and that's because that's a plant from the ocean, correct? All right. So yes, Dean, the filmmaker, she said, go ahead on and eat up all the sea moss you want to. All right. So now let's get into the topic of the inversion method. Can you hold your head upside down? And this is what they say: if you hold your head upside down,
Mm-hmm.
and you use some essential oils, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to massage your scalp for about 4 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you do
Mm-hmm.
this for about 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
that you will notice some serious growth if you do this as a practice. So, will the inversion method give you more hair? Maybe not. It's saying faster, but we're just going to be realistic now that we know what we know. So, will the inversion method? Can we lie on our beds or our couches and hold our head upside down and expect something miraculous to happen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, circulation does not increase adenogen, catagen, intelligence. It
Oh,
doesn't. They're not induced by the blood coming to the heart, to the artery, or they're not responsible for it leaving. Okay. Now, but if follicles, they're standing up like this, and if you go like this, then where is the blood going? I'm trying to. They're connected now. There's a system. There's a system. There's a blood vein, and according to the diagrams that medicine anatomically correct. Now, if you turn that upside down, where would the blood go?
could you tell me about the house again, George? Hi, George. George, if I hold my head upside down, George, could you, George? Hey, George. Hey,
I
Miss
don't know.
Foster. Hello, Night Copy. I see you guys in the chat. George, I turned my head upside down, George. Hey, George, come on. Tell me about the house again, George. I'm upside down, and the blood is going to drip down into my papilla, and it's going to mess up with my sebaceous and my erectopili muscle, and the hair is just going to come out. Uh, uh, that is no.
See, my whole goal here is to make to then. So, what is gravity going to? So, we're saying gravity is causing the hair loss. Then is that what we're saying?
Hmm. The message in the inversion method. Now, I've not watched every single one, but
Mm-hmm.
I've read. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they all seem to allude
Mm-hmm.
to it is the blood. The blood of Jesus. You know what I'm talking about, y'all? Y'all know about that blood. So it
Right.
is going to be in the
So,
blood. So
so,
this is their
but
rationale.
let's just say this. Let's say the person is anemic and they have very low red blood cells, development of red blood cells, which is the oxygen carrying, which makes the blood in the appear red.
Okay,
Okay? So,
that part.
right. So if they have low oxygenated blood, increasing its pressure doesn't, or its flow doesn't do anything. Does
Mm.
that make sense?
So, yeah. So, Dean Filmmaker says gravity ain't gonna help y'all. It's not gonna help.
Now, and let's be clear. Hair grows against gravity, especially black people. Black people's hair grow is gravity defined. Does not obey the law of gravity. White people's
No,
hair, just straight hair.
I got some black people here that's showing you right now. This hair is defying the gravity. Y'all see that? Look at that. That is like that's that non-ether hair right here. We're gonna be talking about non-ether hair in the documentary, all right? So yeah, yeah. So
So my
go ahead.
point is, right. So my point is that if there is not enough oxygen in the blood to create a normal antigenic phase, then what is the problem? The pressure of deoxygenated blood, or to just increase the oxygen in the blood, regardless if it's high circulatory flow or not. So it's
Mm.
not the flow that you want to increase. You want to increase the electrolytes and the nutrition in the blood and the oxygen, not not the pressure,
Right.
not the
And it
direction of it.
right, yeah, and it feels good. So we know that,
Then that
scalp,
means, well,
yeah,
then that's your nerves, because you have more
right,
nerves in the scalp. Your
right.
feet. Anytime you feel people, anytime you feel something, it is not your blood vessels. It's your
Okay.
nerves, and
It's your
nerves don't
nerve.
carry. Nerves carry impulse. Nerves carry stimuli. Nerves carry sensitivity. Nerves create a sense of something.
Right,
That is your right. And the
right.
only thing that flow does is make the vein expand. It's not increasing the value of the activity of the
Hmm.
catalyst. It's not doing that.
So let me just say this about the whole thing about the blood flow with the massaging of the scalp. So when I was doing research for my book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, I discovered a gentleman by the name of Sake Dean Mohammed who introduced this shampooing, which the Hindu word translates into massage. And
Mhm.
so I say this to say, guys, that washing hair and shampooing hair are two different things to Cheryl's point. The shampoo is for a sensation to relax, to get you to feel good. It is an experience in the hair salon. But when you wash your hair, it's entirely two different methodologies to actually get the scalp cleansed. So I hope you guys, that'll give you guys something to think about when we talk about, that sensation that we feel, behind the ball. At the ball. If you are a licensed cosmetologist and you're watching this, I've had to backpedal out of a lot of pseudo stuff that I was taught and that I've read too. But this is why we are doing this documentary. And again, the documentary is called The Narrative, and it's all about what? The Afro hair, this miseducation. It's time to change the narrative. And none of these naturalistas, these natural hair people, they are not going to be able to refute science, guys. So when we ask them to explain how this stuff works, and now you have the new or the real understanding of our hair by way of electrolytes, um, and versus the sensation of what we feel, that those are entirely two different things. And per Dean, the filmmaker, he's saying gravity is not going to help you. So you can hold your head upside down, but all it's going to do is you're just going to
Feels
be
good.
upside. It's going to feel good.
And let me just say this. But also your circulatory system, especially your red blood cells, They're very good for cosmetic reasons, like the way your skin appears, your fine lines, your gravity is very good for that. Hanging upside down for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. It's just about your skin, your elasticity, but it's not internal. It has nothing to
Okay.
do with the antigenic and the proliferation of hair
That
cells
growth
from
phase.
the
Okay.
oxygen. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question in the chat that says, I'm just going to read it verbatim, Cheryl. They say each strand of hair follows its own timeline. Is it possible for one strand of hair to be in the anagen growth stage and another strand can be in the catagen stop growing phase?
Mhm.
And is that possible?
Of course.
Okay.
But you can't take that hair that is in that particular set. I think maybe about, I would probably guess, the white medicine always says, or straight hair medicine always says, about 90 to 80 to 90% of all hairs
Right.
are in anagenic when anagenic phase is um, activated, and all the rest of the other hairs are, but you cannot. It's a immune body defense system. When you comb your hair in the morning, all your hair is not coming out at one time. And say, so that is one of the reasons why I believe trichologists are a little miseducated, because you know you have to know what is shedding versus hair loss, or hair loss versus thinning, or thinning versus breakage. They're also different, and so they can be, but it's not just one hair per capita. It is a most major part of your hair is in the anagenic phase at the
Ooh,
time, and
you guys.
probably on the placement of your head, because your fatty part of your scalp is from the tip of your crown all the way down to your occipital into the frontal. But here is probably, it's that the skull is so much closer to the scalp, it's so much drier and susceptible to being a little more resistant, little, prone to tangle. And so the fatty is from here all the way to the back. No one ever loses hair here unless you snatched it out. But
Right.
usually men in male pattern baldness, Venus baldness, it's always this area here that's causing, is the area. But anyway, those hairs are in different phases due to just the placement on the scalp. But
Hmm.
we have to study that in order for us to really understand what hairs and what area is in a different phase at one time. Maybe they're all, but I do believe that is black people who come from areas that are warmer, a lot more vibration and frequency and electromagnetic field on the planet. Once you're from there, your blood is different, your skin is different, everything is different. And
This is
so,
true. Yeah.
just yeah,
Yeah. Wow. That was a supercharged question, Dean. We got a very supercharged answer. So we are at our 7:05. That went by really fast.
I know, right?
And that's because you guys are always on it. So we appreciate you guys. Now, I do have a prize for everybody again. So if you email me, you will be the first to receive a link to my video that's going to discuss, and I wrote it down here, the 5 common hair care mistakes seen on social media. If you email me, you will be the first to watch that. Before I show it to everybody else, I will wait about 3 days before I actually, show it on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to share with you the 5 common hair care mistakes seen on social media. And of course, I'm going to recap some of this stuff that Cheryl has said, because I know some of you guys just want a little bit more juice about watching all of this information coming across these platforms. So we know that you guys are just like, I need a checklist of what I should be looking for. So I'm going to do it, just me sitting in front of the camera. I'm going to roll off the 5, and I'm going to ask Cheryl to add to that list too. So if you email me at ladoshaw@yahoo.com, then I'm going to upload that video, and you will be able to see it first before we show it to the rest of the world. Now, when we come back next week, we're going to have another 3 series, because these topics are so content heavy, we can't possibly get them all in one podcast. So we're going to be talking about what's the difference. What's the difference between a natural hairstyle, protective hairstyle, and a regular hairstyle? Don't y'all want to know that? What is a protective hairstyle? We want to talk about that, because that's in the Crown Act, okay? Protective hairstyles, natural hairstyles, and hairstyles. Because I know some of you guys are like, what is the difference? All right, so that's going to be our first one. The second one we're going to talk about is a natural hairstylist compared to a regular cosmetologist. What is the difference between someone who does natural hair and someone who holds a cosmetology license? All right. And then the last one we're going to talk about, let me see, how do I want to put this here? The education, what's the difference in the education for straight hair and Afro hair? So Cheryl is definitely going to give us, I saved that one for last, because I know a lot of you really want to know, I thought we all was human. We're going to give you guys a little snippet into that Afro cosmetology. So that's going to be a 3-part series, and it's all about what's the difference. So you guys save the date. It's going down the next 3 Mondays. Don't forget to email me at ladoshaw@yahoo.com, and then you will be the first to get those 5 common hair care mistakes seen on social media. And Sister Nia Colby said, the way that Cheryl is smiling, she can't wait. She like, ooh, it's gonna be. I saw it too, Nia Colby. I'm like, ooh, did you see Cheryl was like, I can't wait to chop it. So you guys get ready. It's going down. And don't forget to share the content. We had a lot of people watching us in the chat. We usually only have about 5 to 7. This time we were up a little bit more, almost up to 20. So you guys, come on and get some more people in here, and we appreciate your support. Cheryl, any last things you want to share with them about this whole making hair grow faster? Just a word to the wise, so that they can understand a little bit, as we round this one
up. We're going to come up with our own microscopy, anatomically correct Afro curly hair as it sits in the dermis of Black people. You'll be able to get that with Ladosha.
All right, so y'all stay tuned, and we're doing our best to help.
It's a poster, actually.
It's a poster. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So we're doing our best to do what? Help change the narrative. And if you are out there changing the narrative about Afro hair, please be so kind to use that hashtag, help change the narrative. And that lets the world know that we are now taking charge of Afro hair by way of understanding and, of course, education. All right. So Judy says, thank you so much. She really appreciates you. All right, guys, we'll be back next week at 6 o'clock about the differences. You know what I said when I'm always signing out, right? A whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, most certainly a whole lot of hair. But after today, check this out. If you ain't got no hair, don't want no hair, can't stand hair, as a matter of fact, you plan on cutting it off because you can't even grow it. You know what Cheryl and I say? Don't even worry about it now. Just rub your beautiful bald head and your bald spots. bald spots, because those are beautiful too, and so are
Are
you.
you?
Deuces, we out.